So we've been looking at some different ways to build lists. In Wargaming, the list is kind of the currency. What's the plan for your army to operate? How is it going to operate? And the synergy between the tactics, the missions, and the units, the models that you've selected is pretty diverse, especially if it's a sci-fi system like BattleTech, like Warhammer 40K, where think about the scope of 40K for a moment. First, you pick your army, and then within that army, all of the choices. And then layered over that, this is both a blessing and a curse, Games Workshop releasing updates and crossovers like from Blackstone Fortress and other pieces where you can play and add those models. There's a lot of moving pieces. Compare that to, say, Historicals, Chain of Command, World War II. Depending on the time period, everything is very streamlined and uniform because it's historical. Hero Hammer. So the idea behind Hero Hammer, you take the most powerful units that you can. Your battle points, your battle value, your power points, your squadron points, whatever the currency is, your C-bills to develop your list, whatever level you're playing your game at, you pour them into really, really powerful units. Units that are hard to kill, units that put out a ton of damage, units that you might take one or two, you pour all your points in. My Grey Knight army has two builds for 40K. One is, of course, putting down lots of Grey Knights, and then the other is a Hero Hammer army, playing a small model count. And for a while, side note, going to play in tournaments, I was bringing smaller armies. And there's a couple of challenges in playing a Hero Hammer army, simply because you can only do so much every turn. So there's this idea, in many wargaming systems, you can only engage 1-to-1. There are times in the system, like in an assault, you can catch multiple units, multi-assault, base-to-base contact, but for the most part, 1-to-1. So if I have a powerful unit and I shoot at your tank, and I'm pretty positive that I'm going to blow up that tank, any additional damage that I do is not going to spill over. So at best, I can destroy 1-to-1. What you have to look at with a Hero Hammer army, where maybe I have 6 units instead of maybe 12, 13, 15 that I might normally have, the Hero Hammer units that you select, engaging 1-to-1, target priority shifts massively. Target priority shifts massively because you just can't engage everything. And you also can't kind of tie up everything. You know, we see this with some fast, low point, low-cost units that will go out and engage other units, essentially a bullet or a laser magnet, because if I can't deal with that part of your army and destroy it right now, if I feed you something in low value and buy myself another turn, then I can deal with it, have a little bit of breathing room. You can't do that with a low model count army, with a rock-solid Hero Hammer army. So you need to identify very, very quickly what can I engage, how can I engage it, and really look towards the mission. Not that we're never looking towards the mission, but really look towards the mission and say, what units, are there units later on in the mission that are going to be important that I might not be able to get to and deal with? So can I deal with them earlier? The timetable is a lot more fluid, I should say. Positioning is also key. Depending on the system, you might have a Hero Hammer unit that can move very fast, where it's like, look, in one turn I can be on the other side of the gaming table. But for the most part, whether a unit moves fast or slow, in every system there's kind of this medium movement band, or if it is a slow movement band, it's going to take you a couple of turns to cross the table. What you want to do is be able to immediately dominate the center. Now, maybe a little bit to the left, maybe a little bit to the right. You're going to modify it by terrain, of course, but dominate the center, because a wargaming table has physical boundaries, and for the most part, you can't go off the table edge, or if you can, depending on the system, you're kind of out of the battle. You fly away, you move your ship or your craft away. But that's kind of this invisible line. If you are on the left side of the gaming table engaging, and there's units on the right side, unless it's an extreme circumstance where you have massive, massive high volume, long range shooting, you can't engage. It's going to take you a turn or two to get over there. And of course, that other unit's not going to hang out. It's going to be moving. So with the Hero Hammer units, if you're castled up on one side of the table, can you afford to burn 1 or 2 turns and then shoot and then destroy? But if you dominate in the center, then again, for units that fall in this average band, if you dominate the center of the table by shifting forward, back, left, or right with that shift of movement in your movement phase, followed by the shooting phase or the assault phase or attacking phase, you should be in range of most things. A couple of points. The challenge with Hero Hammer armies, again, is this 1-to-1, but also they are vulnerable to being swarmed and just stalled. In a wargaming system, if you can't kill it, can you stall it? Can you keep it busy? And often you can do this with a low amount of points, and buy yourself 1, maybe 2 game turns. And if you can do that, that's worth the price of admission. I would say in expanding out your model collection, and this is why I'm pushing some of these list ideas up, you're going to have your army, you're going to have the faction that you enjoy playing, and with that play style, we want to build a bunch of different lists. We want to get the most use out of our models. So you might very well be a horde player and play massive armies. Tyranids, my Tyranid army. What was the springboard for my Grey Knights was I was playing massive amounts of Gaunts and Gene Stealers, Space Bugs for Warhammer 40,000, Tyranids, and literally going to tournaments. And I'm like, why can't I walk 2 days later? Because I'm just shoveling massive amounts of models. And we were doing some traveling. And I'm like, I want a small little army just to play. And the first foray before the Grey Knights was, it's nothing new, kind of resurrecting Nidzilla, playing lots of Carnifexes, playing lots of Hive Tyrants, just single, large, powerful bug monsters, powerful units. Even if that's, now, of course, I enjoy playing that list too, but even if it's not your primary list, your primary player personality, switch things up, play things up a little bit. So looking to the list, filling out these different templates, filling out these different ideas with the models in your collection, and of course, if needed, if possible, using it for justification to purchase new models.